This video is going to be about sun exposure. As I stated in a previous video when I was giving Frank Tufano props for his video on vitamin D and sun exposure, there is more to do with sun exposure than just vitamin D. I think I mentioned that in the video, but I don't know. For example, the regeneration of coenzyme Q10, the metabolic regulations. You have to remember, we're a dinaural being. We're a dinaural animal. And that's extremely important to our cycles, okay? Also, the production of testosterone and other androgens have been found to be dependent upon, daylight and bright full-spectrum light. And, there's a lot of important things that go into this. And this is why sun worship and the aspects of having a solar-centered religion is important to many civilized agrarian societies. And I'm going to leave a lot of links to the use of solar worship in civilized, agrarian civilizations. It's interesting because these hunter-gatherer folks that Frank Tufano talks about, a lot of people don't know, a lot of hunter-gatherers actually moved at night. And the reason they moved at night was because that is when they could hunt easier, and also it's also differentiation. You have to understand, people lived in different climatic regions. So you have the arid people in Africa were lunar people. That's also why you see Judaism based around a lunar year, and you see, for example, Jesus is a solar deity, more or less. He is a Roman solar deity. And the Catholic year is a bastardization of the solar pagan year of Rome, and the reason why, of course, is because Rome was a solar-centered civilization, whereas in the Jewish religion it was a lunar-centered religion. Although, because they were vagabonds, they were how can I put this? They were nomads, okay? But then you have other Semitic people that worshipped, like Shamash, who's a sun god, because they were, I believe that's Sumerian. They were a civilized agrarian society. So, and then you have the Mesoamericans with Inti, and the Japanese with, I forget the chick's name, she's a goddess, and of course the Egyptians with Aten. My point is, the role of the sun in humanity, whether it has to do with regulating the metabolism, the regeneration and creation of coenzyme Q10, the creation of vitamin D, which, by the way, now that we know vegans can make enough vitamin D, or not enough vitamin D, they can, but they can generate enough cholesterol to make vitamin D, disproving Frank's video with my previous video. We also understand that vegans need to get their sunlight, but it's not just vitamin D. There's a whole plethora of reasons, many of which probably are not even understood yet, as to the role that the sun plays in human health. Now, of course, you don't want to get too much sun and things of this nature, but this is something that I think is interesting, that people are, they went from sun worship to sun shunning. And as an animal, the human animal is in tune with solar rhythms, especially Indo-Europeans, and especially of the northern climes, and also I would say even Mesoamerican people. Although what I think is interesting is what people don't understand, in the rainforest, see, people don't get this, in like the Amazon rainforest, there's actually not very much sunlight. People forget about that. People forget that a rainforest has a canopy, a green canopy, that blocks pretty much all of the sunlight from where the people are. It's only in the agrarian people, such as the Maya, the Aztec, and the Inca, the Inca weren't in a rainforest. The Inca were in the mountains, but it's only in these regions where you have agrarian civilizations that you see solar worship becoming important. And that's what's interesting. And I'm going to leave a lot of links to things like coenzyme Q10 generation, vitamin D generation, testosterone production and androgen production. These are all things that the sun does for the human animal. And these are things that Ellen G. White... No, see, this is what's funny. Ellen G. White was not a scientist. Everybody goes, Weston Price this and Weston Price that. People turn a blind eye to Ellen G. White, I think, because she was a religionist, and some say a prophetess. But the thing is with Ellen G. White is what she gleaned from the Bible and from her own intuition, and I do believe some people are more in tune with the source of nature that we call God. What she gleaned is universal truths that are being proven now because these were found out through naturalistic observation. People didn't know why shellfish were bad for you in biblical times, but they presumed through naturalistic observation that they were full of toxins, and they were correct. Okay, this is common. This is what you get from naturalistic observation. The science comes later, but this is what you do not have in the hunter-gatherer. When man was a beast, which is what you have in the hunter-gatherer, you have raw survival, not thriving, but survival. So if you're looking to thrive, you want to look toward where did humanity thrive, not where did it survive. And that's what's interesting, is people go hunter-gatherer ancestors this and hunter-gatherer ancestors that. What you want to look to is the Mesoamericans, the Babylonians, the Romans, the Greeks, the high-level civilizations where health was generally good, Egypt, things like this, where the Minoan civilizations. You want to look where the health was more or less good throughout the population, and you also want to look at the fact that we don't live in the Stone Age anymore, or the Bronze Age, or the Iron Age, and we live in the Information Age. So you also want to look at the fact that we can advance these things, and that there are better things now than then. And that's the other thing, this tunnel vision that the Carnists have. It's mind-boggling. It's also mind-boggling how little they actually know about basic biology or basic health. And that's all for this video.